So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sports Monkeys 3. This is a late video because the original video corrupted and all the audio did not record. So, I'm just going to do a quick, brief run through of this week's episode, get it out before the game, and then we are good. So, I'm Chris, Packers, Bills, Bucks, Rangers fan. It's just me today. Meg is not here. James is not here. I'm just getting through this really fast. News of the week: Christian McCaffrey, Isaiah Pacheco, Puka Nacua all go on IR. Tua goes on IR for his concussion. Hope he's okay. Bryce Young gets benched. Kupp and Debo are injured. I believe George Kittle is out, and a handful of other players around the league are out. Lots of injuries to big name players this past week. Recap of last week: we had the Bills versus the Dolphins, 31-10 Bills. Packers Colts, 16-10 Packers. Jets Titans, 24-17 Jets. Vikings 49ers, 23-17 Vikings. Chargers Panthers, 26-3 Chargers. Saints Cowboys, 44-19. Saints took the W. Commanders Giants, 21-18 Commanders. Bucks versus Lions, 20-16. Bucks win. Jaguars versus Browns, 18-13 Browns win. Raiders versus Ravens, 26-23 Raiders. Seahawks Patriots, 23-20 Seahawks in overtime. Rams versus Cardinals, 41-10 Cardinals. Steelers versus Broncos, 13-6 Steelers. Bengals Chiefs, 26-25 Chiefs. Texans Bears, 19-13 Texans on Sunday night, and Monday night we had the Eagles play the Falcons. Falcons took the W, 22-21. A lot of close games here this week. Couple blowouts like the Rams versus the Cardinals, with the Cardinals taking a huge W, and the Saints over the Cowboys along as well, with the Saints taking a huge W as well. A bunch of bomb touchdowns. Justin Jefferson and 97-yarder. Rashid Shaheed had a long one. Marvin Harrison had a long one. Aaron Rodgers got his first win as a Jet last week, and this is actually Saturday today, so he has his second win as a Jet. But we'll cover that next week. James Cook destroys the Dolphins. I'm kind of jumping all over the place. I apologize for that. Malik Willis gets a W over the Colts. Not a terrible game, but with a game plan where they ran for 261 yards, they didn't need Willis to do too much. The Panthers are looking really bad, 26-3 over to the Chargers. They lost. The Giants lost despite scoring 3 touchdowns. Turns out their kicker was injured, and they didn't have confidence in someone else, so they went for 2 every time, and ultimately could not come out with the win despite the Commanders not scoring a touchdown. Buccaneers get a huge win over the Lions. The Ravens throw away the game at the end. They're up, I believe it was 23-16. Allow a late touchdown from Devontae Adams to get the game tied up, and then they can't do anything, and the Raiders wind up getting down the field to kick a field goal for the W. Patriots take the Seahawks to overtime. Turns out it's too much for the Patriots. They lose 23-20. Again, Rams Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 catches for 2 touchdowns in the first 7 minutes of the game, which was wild. And they weren't just like, they drove the field and then they found him. He had a nice deep shot down the right sideline, and he gets wrapped up by the defender at about the 5, and he is so strong that he just lunges for the end zone. And because he's like he's really tall, and so he's long as well. While he's lunging for the end zone with the defender wrapped around his legs trying to hold him back, his arm extended with the ball reaches across the goal line for the first one, and then the second one, I do not understand how he gets 2 feet down, but he does. He is insane. I'm so excited to watch him play. The Steelers defense took care of the Broncos. Justin Fields looked better. Bengals versus Chiefs, it's turning into a classic. Bengals versus Chiefs, they're always good games. Late field goal for the Chiefs gets them the W, about like 3 seconds left on the clock or something. Caleb Williams had some ups and downs against the Texans. He would have like a good play and a good throw followed up by like some overthrow or interception or something. And then Eagles versus Falcons. I didn't watch this game too much, but Saquon dropped what would have been the game sealing pass. The Falcons then go down and score. The Eagles get the ball back, and then Jesse Bates picks off Jalen Hurts to seal the W for the Falcons. I'm just going to show the power rankings. I'm not going to explain them too much. They're both here, just mine and James. Meg was not here for this episode initially, so his are not included. But a lot of similar teams in like the top 8 and then a little bit on the bottom, but those teams are all shuffled around through those top 8 or 7. Pete Prisco does his power rankings again. I remember a bunch of teams with humongous rises like the Vikings, Saints, and Seahawks all moved up a lot, while teams like the Rams, the Dolphins, the Jaguars all fell a lot. I believe the Eagles too. And then the Raiders jumped up a lot as well, I remember, as well as the Steelers and the Chargers. But it's starting to round out and be more what everyone thought it was going to be. And I'm excited for this week because we got some great matchups. Just a quick look at the division standings. AFC East. Everyone's got at least one win. AFC South, Texans have 2. Everyone else has none. AFC West is looking pretty decent. NFC North looks like the AFC East, 2-0. Everyone's got a win. NFC South, couple 2-0s. Falcons are there. NFC East, you got the Commanders, who are technically in first place right now. And then the NFC West, the Rams are 0-2. And things aren't looking too bright for them. They have a lot of players out. I just wanted to get these out before the games this week. Last week, I had a 9-7 record, bumps my record up to 21-11. For this upcoming week, I had the Patriots over the Jets because this is Saturday. This game already happened. I know what happened. The Jets took the win. I'm not going to get a point there. I've got the Packers over the Titans. The Packers are technically underdogs right now, probably because Jordan Love still hasn't been named the starter. Steelers versus Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to get the upset win. A lot of these upsets are and a lot of these games this week, they're 3-point favorite, 2.5-point favorites, 1.5-point favorites. It's a lot of teams are really close on these favorites versus underdogs. So some of these doesn't seem like it's an upset, but it's technically an upset according to sports books and whatnot, and favorites odds and whatnot. Texans versus the Vikings. I think that's going to be a great game. I'm going to take the Texans. Eagles versus the Saints. I want to believe in the Saints and believe that the Saints are legit. And I want to believe that the Eagles are still a little overrated. So I'm going to take the Saints here. Buccaneers versus the Broncos. Take the Buccaneers over the Broncos. The Buccaneers just look so much better than the Broncos so far. And I think the Broncos will get it together. But ultimately, it's another tough defense for the Broncos. They started with Pittsburgh as well as Seattle's defenses, and now they're playing Tampa's. It's very tough start to the season for the Denver Broncos. Browns over the Giants, self-explanatory. The Giants can't really do too much right now, despite the Browns also not being able to do too much, but I trust the Browns a lot more than the Giants. I've got the Bears over the Colts in an upset. I think that'll be a good game. But I think the Bears defense will be a nightmare for Anthony Richardson. And even if they score 2 rushing touchdowns and like a couple field goals, I think that'll be enough for the Bears to get a win over the Colts. I've got the Raiders over the Panthers. Self-explanatory. I've got that as a lock. The Panthers do not look good, despite bringing in Andy Dalton to start. They might make it close, but I think the Raiders still get a win here. They're riding the high of the Ravens game. Seahawks over the Dolphins. I believe Skylar Thompson's the starter right now. And I think the Seahawks defense is going to make it very tough for those Dolphins come Sunday. Ravens versus the Cowboys. I've got the Ravens in a great game. Both teams coming off bad losses. Lions versus the Cardinals. I think this game is closer than people think, but I think the Lions are just a better team. And I think they will get the W in the long run. 49ers versus Rams. I got the 49ers. The Rams have way too many injuries, especially to that receiving core. Chiefs versus Falcons. The Chiefs are just a better team. Bills versus Jaguars. The Bills are just the better team. And Bengals versus Commanders. The Bengals are just a better team. Meg made his predictions. He went 7-9 the last week. He's got a 16-16 record, right at 500. I'm just going to leave these up for a minute, or you can just pause the video if you're watching it. If you're not, again, these are Meg's predictions, just so we got them locked in for our game that we're playing, which I'll touch on right at the end. But he's got upsets for the Packers over the Titans and Chargers over the Steelers. Again, the Packers are technically 3-point underdogs right now. Despite, in my opinion, might be biased, might not be, that they are a significantly better team than the Titans. And he's got the Falcons over the Chiefs in another upset. And his lock is Bengals versus Commanders. He's got the Bengals in a lock. James over here, his upsets were Patriots over the Jets. Obviously, that one's not happening. The Jets took the W there handedly. He's got the Buccaneers over the Broncos in a lock, as well as the Colts over the Bears in a lock. And then another upset he's got is Commanders over the Bengals. But otherwise, he's got the Titans, the Steelers, Texans. A lot of things that seem self-explanatory. And he went 7-9 last week. Pretty bad week for all of us. I went 7-9. Meg went 9-7. Or maybe it was the other way around. And James went 7-9. James rounds out to 19-13. And for our game right here, I'm currently in the lead with 22 points. I've made 21 right picks, gained 3 points for 3 upset picks correct, and lost 2 points for incorrectly guessing 2 locks. Meg is at 15 points. He had 16 right picks, 1 correct upset pick, 2 incorrect lock picks. And James is at 18 points. He has 19 right picks, 1 upset correct pick, and 2 lock incorrect picks. So I just wanted to get this quickly recorded. It's probably only about 5-10 minutes. Just to get it up before the week starts, and it should be back to normal after this week, hoping nothing goes wrong. Appreciate anyone who's listened, and that's a wrap on week 3.